Let's do it. We live. We live.
We live. Daddy duty's called. Gotta make a bottle. I know we in a little late. We in a little late, but it's cool. We're gonna get in and get out. Been a lot of things going on, jumping around. What's the word, Toya?
What it do? I'm just fleshing out some ideas for the Snapchat we about to jump into. We got a little conversation for y'all. Talking about old Turkey Leg Hut. If y'all haven't been, what I'm saying, on your Twitter feeds or your Instagram feeds, just go type that into the search bar and laugh a little bit. You'll probably get some context on the issue. But we're gonna talk about it a little bit too. And frame it because a lot of people why it is a funny issue. And by the way, Turkey Leg Hut is a restaurant in Houston, Texas. Very popular. It's a place that I definitely is on my list of places in the United States to stop by. But we're going to just kind of get into it because a lot of people are finding it controversial and borderline disrespectful, rude, messed up, anti-Black, if you will, kind of the way that they're approaching their business model these days.
Gotta chase the money, huh?
In whatever ways as possible. What's up, Ethereal Beauty? You know it. Back on schedule. You know it. Monday CP time. Monday CP time is our schedule. Monday night, yeah, just be on scrolling. You never know when we pop through, but it's on schedule is a Monday.
Yeah, it's a Monday and we made it.
Yeah. Kyrie, Pinky Promise Life was good. Was really. Plug is coming back. Our show's manager, Huey, needed a bottle. My man's needed some milk. So the plug is topping him off, and then we'll be back on top of it to get into it. So that just means you got time to share it. Tell people to chop up some.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Share, subscribe, do all that. Tell a friend. And we about to have us a nice, I feel like, critical conversation about Sha'Carri and Bill Cosby, because we know a lot of people have been talking about these two topics. You know what I'm saying? We're going to talk about the Olympics. We're going to talk about international relations. We're going to get into the rules and regulations. You know what I'm saying? We also going to get into that Bill Cosby. Is Bill Cosby getting out of jail? Is that a victory for the Black community? We're going to talk about, you know what I'm saying, what he confessed to, and you feel me? What deal he made, and, all that. You know what I'm saying? Tell a friend and tell a friend. The CP time, this means black people time, because they're the same to me.
As a person who has come to live in Southern California, and both have the elements of a whole bunch of non-Black people of color, but also traffic, I think I'm gonna just give it to all people of color. It's color people time. If you got color on you, you got a different relationship to time, and that's only been exacerbated by living in a place where traffic will always play you. So stuff in California, it starts mostly on time, but it's pretty much CP time. I've seen Latinos, I've seen my Asian friends, I've seen my Pacific Islanders, I've seen my Middle Eastern friends. They all move a little different when it comes to time. So we share that one. I ain't even gonna let Black people whore at CP time because I ain't seen a whole bunch of folk do what they want to with time.
And then Hyper Balance said, abolish the Olympics.
Yeah. At that point, we're gonna get into Sha'Carri, we're gonna get into Bill, and we're gonna talk about all of that for sure.
We in the mix. What's good with y'all?
Oh yeah, because Rahel's still gone, huh?
Yup. Yeah, man. The missus is out of town with friends, so it's just me and Hugh tonight.
Huh.
Hopefully he could fall asleep during the show and not make too much noise, but it is what it is.
Hey, is this episode labeled with Sha'Carri and Bill Cosby in the title? Or
It is.
Word.
Yes, sir. But who gonna bring it in before we get it started?
Lee.
All right, Toya G gonna bring it in.
I said Lee. I did not say Lee.
Oh, I thought you said girl. See, that's that Kansas City country, girl. You enunciate. Hey. All I heard was E.
Yeah,
E.
That's fair.
But the boy Lee gonna go ahead and get it cracking for y'all. We're gonna start the show the way that we always start the show. Let's get it.
Me, my guys, we really live. Lord, forgive me, pay my tithes. Please don't have me reach inside. And that's in the console. Keep the semi when I ride. Let off Henny when I drive. In the city, we gon' slide. Bet I be there pronto.
Yes. And you in for another episode of the Chop Up. It's your boy, George Lee, a.k.a. Conscious Lee. Don't forget the Lee and who I'm with tonight.
Hey, y'all already know it's your girl Toya G hanging out with y'all on the first Monday In the month of July, we slid up in that thing real quick. I don't know about y'all, but I said every week, 2021 is moving and grooving, and we in this thing though. Happy to be back with y'all.
Yep. Hey, it's the political plug. We here day after 4th of July. For me to be all pro-black, my wife does like to constantly remind me that when she asked me what was my favorite holiday, I did tell her 4th of July. But to be clear, right? For me, and especially growing up in Kansas City, 4th of July meant summertime, warm weather, barbecue, and fireworks. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm thinking of like my favorite celebration, being around family, eating good, having fun, I think about 4th of July. You know what I'm saying? So
and now we don't have to because we have Juneteenth, or we've always had it, but now we spreading it around. We spreading the word. That's where we move. Or better yet, I saw a lot of people saying we just gonna run it back. You know what I'm saying? So the 4th is officially
Juneteenth part 2.
Basically, 15 day after party.
And look, and if you got family that's more like, man, ain't nobody worry about that shit. We barbecuing, we living good. Use them as an excuse.
Exactly.
Like, fuck that colonizers holiday. But I go ahead, pass me them ribs. I'm gonna be over about around 6, 7. You know what I'm saying? When y'all bring out the fireworks, we're gonna be kicking it. All of that. Just use them as an excuse. So when people like, you was for real celebrating the 4th of July, like, man, my family, dog. Like, they was,
Which I mean,
or you can just be like, I don't care, my man. I would like to have a day off and hang with family and get around the grill.
Oh yeah, that comfortability.
And that's what I saw a lot of people doing. A lot of people, I didn't see. I don't see. I think I saw. I ain't gonna say I didn't see a black person say Happy 4th. I did see a couple of them floating around, but I saw a whole lot more get that shit out of here type energy. So it was beautiful to see it. Vance knows the truth in the comments. That's because Kansas City is one of the premier barbecue spots in the world, Craig. Absolutely. I'm happy that it's understood. Kansas City, and you know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing. Even I slide up in the barbecue on the 4th, and I don't even bang with barbecue like that. But I got to have a rib or a burn-in or a piece of brisket or something from somebody just to do it the right way.
Rodney said that the 4th of July is a happy extinction of Juneteenth Day. You know what I'm saying? So it's Juneteenth part 2. You feel me? Like it's just Juneteenth part 2. I'm with it.
Hey, I seen some of the elders saying that we should celebrate freedom from Juneteenth to July 4th in America. Like it should just be a full-blown 2-week celebration.
Like Hanukkah.
I think that's a beautiful.
Like Kwanzaa. I said Hanukkah. Like Kwanzaa.
Nice little multicultural idea for freedom. Shout out to the Native Americans. You feel me? Hey, before we get into the Snapchat too, I know that a lot of people usually quote the every man created equal part of the Declaration of Independence. But on this day, you feel me, or yesterday, or I guess a few days ago on July 4th, I had to just go back and revisit the Declaration of Independence. And that last grievance, what it said about Native Americans, is very telling in terms of how indigenous people are structured, you feel me, in terms of the birth of America. And for y'all that don't know, the last grievances that the colonists was making, the King George and them, was that he was siccing merciless savages on him to, you know what I'm saying, to leading insurrections and leading merciless savages against him, against the colonists in X, Y, and Z. And pretty much I learned that a whole bunch of colonists had money already invested in the Appalachian, already past the Appalachian Mountains. But King George and them was like, hey, we can't spread over there because that's Indian land. And the colonists was like, nah, fuck all that. We want the land over there too. So, I think that a part of the story about the American Revolution, they don't tell us that part though, but just throw it in there.
Like Ralph Walker said, since them KAA Camp Counselor days, I know you was something serious. Keep it up. You stay educating the uneducated. And so taking knowledge outside of this space and dropping knowledge on us, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Definitely.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and get into that Snapchat.
All right, folks, let's go ahead and slide into the Snapchat, brother. Today,
snap into the Snapchat was dope too. That was actually a bar. You kind of fucked it up. That was a bar.
Either way it go, we in this thing. I want to start it off talking about the turkey leg hut. Now, this place might not be overly familiar to you if you're not from the Houston area, but it is a place that I've seen on social media. Different celebrities stop by, different people take their pictures with these humongous turkey legs. Turkey legs are the ones you get sometimes from the fair, right? You might get them from the amusement park, you might get them from a city market or something like that. But huge, beautifully cooked turkey legs, right? But this location does all types of different stuff. You got some hot, you got some stuff with macaroni and cheese on it. That's the one I really want when I want to go. But either way, right? The Turkey Hut location has come out recently with a new set of dress code standards, right? And it's had dress code standards. Now, if you look up a picture of the Turkey Leg Hut, you can also Google that. It might not necessarily look like a place you would expect to have a dress code, right? And so it's a really kind of down home roundabout type of place from the pictures that I've seen. But at any rate, they have 6 new guidelines for dress. I'm gonna read them to y'all. We're gonna talk about kind of this whole approach to this business model and what y'all think. First, it says all body parts must be completely covered. All cleavage, breast, thighs, and buttocks must be completely covered. The only thing naked here is the turkey legs and the chicken wings. Second, no swimwear. No swimwear of any kind is allowed. This is the heart of the third ward, not the beach. Third, no exposed undergarments. No exposed undergarments allowed. This includes sports bras, panties, or anything resembling these items. These also includes white tank tops for men. Number 4, no house attire allowed. This means no wave caps, no bonnets, no do-rags, no bandanas, no house shoes, no shower caps allowed. They say we want you to feel at home, but this is not your home, right? They want you to know that that's how they feel about it. Number 5, no excessively revealing clothing. No excessively revealing clothing or soiled clothing is allowed. This includes all distressed or ripped clothing. Shorts and shirts must be covered or must cover your entire top and bottom. And then their last request is that there is no obscene language or baggy clothing. No attire with obscene language or appropriate or offensive graphics. No excessively baggy or sagging pants. Pants must be worn at your natural waistline, right? So what was ironic, and I want to show you all a picture of real quick, and I know y'all, if y'all listening to the podcast, y'all gonna have to Google some of these things or get on Twitter or get on Instagram. But one of the most interesting things is that the owner herself is in pictures all on the gram, you know what I'm saying, with distressed jeans, with, you know what I'm saying, kind of doing her thing. And so a lot of people are saying this is just not realistic, right? Your location, Journey, please be quiet. It's not up to standard with the time. It's not updated. It's not even realistic in terms of how people dress in your establishment. Don't mean all that. So first of all, and I'm gonna read them back to you real quick, but I want to know which one of these do you think is the least reasonable? Which one do you think is just like the most ridiculous? All body parts must be completely covered. No swimwear, no exposed undergarments, no house attire allowed, no excessively revealing clothing, no obscene language or baggy clothing. Or do you think these are reasonable requests for a business trying to serve a community?
Man, the most egregious one to me is the distressed clothing one.
Okay,
because it's so like subjective, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you see the owner rocking the cut jeans, it's like, hold on now. I like the thing about capitalism is I know we're supposed to be able to set our own rules for a business establishment. So if you was a business owner, Toya, you should be able to set the standards and the rules for how you think people should be, you know what I'm saying, conducting themselves in their business. I think this turkey leg on hunt though show you where it's like, hey, they say money talking, bullshit walk, but there's a flip side to that though. Like sometimes when you chase the money, on some bullshit, and it's like I think they, you know.
Okay, so here I'm not in defense of Turkey Leg Hut, but I think that we need context, right? Because their Instagram story, and again, y'all listening, y'all might miss the Instagram story, but I'm about to show a picture that will give some context to what they're saying. So my people who are watching us live can see this photograph that I'm showing where they say on their story, I think this is all right. And what we see here is, I think, a dress that is already very short and very tight, and is super mega distressed on the butt cheeks. Right, so like you see pretty much all cheek, but it's tied up. So I think their complication or confusion is you can have your distressed jeans, but how do I navigate this next to somebody's Sprite that a child is drinking at my location? I'm trying to serve everybody, right? So that's some context for where the leg hut is coming from. Even though I feel the distressed jeans.
Yeah, I think. I feel like. I think this is the part right here why they start being real, man. When you get in the business of the entrepreneurship, whatever you're doing, you start making a little money, getting a little clout, don't forget about who gave you that. Don't forget about who started that with you. You feel me?
Yeah.
People that rocking this clothes, they trying to now, you know what I'm saying, embarrass and ostracize. Those the people that made Turkey Hut Turkey Leg Hut what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Turkey Leg Hut would now be Turkey Leg Hut without all of the ratchet black culture, without all of the quote unquote stereotypical nigga shit they trying to outlaw now. It would not be that. You feel me? So to me, it's just show like now you forgetting where you came from and you forgetting who supported you and putting you in this position. And now because you feel like you're trying to get to a more upper echelon, you know what I'm saying, consumer base with white folks, technically, you want white people to go to Third Ward of Houston and to feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's a business person. I understand. If I get white people to come in my establishment, I can make more money. If I get white folks buying my services and buying my products, I make more money. I get that. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, this right here is where we start getting into the, you know what I'm saying, to me, like the respectability politics in terms of what is correlated with blackness starts to have less value. Because in my mind, it's like, hey, we going into like I don't like even the picture they showed, just like.
Now I'm gonna get deep with you. Because this conversation got some baggage because the way the conversation is played out, it's not been all the black people was like, man, come on, what? It's been a mixed response. It's been a lot of black folks saying, listen, I don't want to see that. And I love my people. And I'm like, so how do we navigate? And I guess my question becomes, are dress codes by nature, right, intrinsically respectable, right? Is it automatically de facto respectability politics if a place has a dress code, or are they necessary at some point? And I'll even let you decide what that point might be. But are dress codes de facto automatically respectability and you kind of forgetting about who got you here? Or is there a line or a place where these things are realistic for things like a family business or a family, not a family business, but a business that is there to serve families? What you think?
I think that I can get the idea that there has to be some type of decorum to make it where people can go and be cordial. But I think that the way that these 6 guidelines is written, they're very arbitrary in how they're going to be interpreted. And it seems they're going to be very arbitrary in how they're going to be enforced. You know what I'm saying? So to me, in this instance, is like, to me, this is respectability politics. You feel me? And I think that me understanding respectability politics, it's a whole bunch of black folks that's lost in the sauce of respectability politics, is invested in, and they don't recognize that even if you try to appeal to the people that you're trying to appeal to, they still won't give a damn about you, or they still won't think your establishment is a place to go spend money at. Because in my mind, if you think Turkey Leg Hut is good, then you send a little bit of cheek and a little bit of thigh. It's not going to deter you from going to get your, you know what I'm saying, shrimp topped with turkey leg. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, that's how I see it. But I'm curious.
Let's engage in a light back and forth, because I don't know if I disagree. However, I am concerned in a world where, and you start off saying we should have some standard of decorum, but that essentially those standards of decorum end up being very arbitrarily applied. And here's why I've become concerned about not having some standard of decorum, regardless of how arbitrary it might be. If I'm out on a Saturday afternoon and I heard Turkey Leg Hut lines be like 2 hours, right? So if me and my impressionable 11-year-old and whoever else have stood in the line for 2 hours to go experience the beauty that is Turkey Hut on just a beautiful, benign, harmless Saturday afternoon, I might not want to explain to my child what cakes are or what a donk is. Or I just like, what do I do if my 11-year-old overhears a conversation from 2 niggas at a table who see somebody come in with some cakes out and is like, da-da-da-da-da, whatever. Now, all of a sudden, in the middle of my turkey leg, I got to have a conversation that I never anticipated having with my child about some, just because somebody want to come in doing whatever it is they want to do. That is my biggest concern. Okay. Is that in an establishment, I guess this is I want to talk to the chat, and I want to talk to Lee about it, because when you throw kids into it, does that change things, right? We talk a lot about kids and relationship and sexuality on this show in a bunch of different contexts. Here's another one. Do we allow bodies to be bodies out in public and not really care, or should we be concerned about children and them being in that environment and what that means? Because it's cool if it's just adults, then you wear what you want, but these kids.
See, I think because today, you know what I'm saying, today I had to put my debate hat on a little bit and do some debate work. In my mind, the 6 rules they have are very correlated to policing women's bodies. And I think that education is elevation always, all the time. And I think that the greatest way for education is usually for parents to parent. So in my mind, the greatest way for a child to learn what's going on is for the parent to tell them what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But I also too think that if you are already going to the third ward and you already, you feel me? And, you know, I only want to make like a third ward is uniquely this place where everybody dressed a certain way. Yeah. I think that if you are already out and about in the community and people are already dressing this way in the community, you feel me? They are already seeing it. You feel me? So it's in my mind to single out, you know what I mean, the policing of women's bodies at Turkey Leg Hut to me is just wild. Because think about it. If the people are already this comfortable to go to Turkey Leg Hut, they're already showing up to other establishments. You have to take your kids. The gas station. You feel me?
True.
The corner store. You feel me? It's like you already seeing ass and titties and profanity shirts and people sagging and, you know what I'm saying, and cleavage. So my mind is just like this is something that's already in society. And I think that when you make it taboo like that, to me, that's what starts to justify all the other shit we start talking about: rape culture, victim blaming, and slut shaming, and, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, and that's what a third beauty kind of is getting to when she said, to be fair, I think it can happen anywhere because the world isn't filtered. And so you can go anywhere and see. And this is where it gets shady because I on one hand, you know, kids see and know every damn thing anyway. They're the kid. These kids are not.
They on TikTok.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, just because they have access to and see everything doesn't mean take other opportunities to bombard it in their faces and make them have to make decisions and calculate for those types of things. So that's where it gets kind of weird. I'm gonna tap into these comments because they start moving a little bit. Let's see.
Cause I don't really think to be about you go tap in the comments, but I don't think that making any rules has nothing to do with the kids. I think that has to do with the particular type of patron they want in their building, and they feel like they don't want to deter or scare those people away. So they want to make sure those people are coming in there and buying it up.
Fair. Stephanie says, why not just say customers cannot wear revealing clothing? Everything else seems over the top. So take out the revealing clothing, but people should still be able to wear whatever house attire is. I think if it's a whole line of do-rags out, and people selling those, but I don't know, but you know, things like that would be acceptable under Stephanie's interpretation of it. So no revealing clothing would mean still wave caps, bonnets, do-rags, still being able to wear swimwear. I don't know what swimwear people. What swimwear do people wear that I'm not?
I mean, if they go into the swimming pool or coming from the swimming pool, they might have something on. And then also too, you know, now it's starting to be a style for women to, I know down south anyway, because it's to wear a bikini bottom, top, and then there's some lazy deuce at the bottom. You feel me? Or some short at the bottom, and so they don't want you doing it at all.
Okay. So, and from the perspective of Stephanie, you know what I'm saying? Some of that stuff will be fair game. Just don't be overly revealing. Other thing says, Christopher said, cakes be out at Safeway though. So Safeway is a grocery store. So equal opportunity cakes, and more cakes everywhere. Emberly says, have you seen the people that be in line? People are grown. They're going to wear what they want. How was someone else's bonnet bothering them? And I guess, and that's what it goes full circle to what George is saying, because I think what they fear is getting a lot of publicity, making money, wanting to make more money, being afraid a camera is going to come catch them in a 2-hour line with people, you know, beating down the door to get their food, but they don't want what the news people see or what the news people capture somebody in a bonnet, because that might dissuade white people from way over across town from coming through or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think when you are trying to, it's kind of like that. I don't remember the restaurant, and I want to say it was in Atlanta, where the dude got up and berated everybody and told them they was being all ghetto and being all hood. Dallas. Because they got up clapping and kind of vibing and just turning up to the music. So it's like you play the music in the establishment for us to kind of catch a vibe. Why, you know, so if you are setting the ambiance, if the whole aesthetic of your establishment is around the way, then don't be surprised when around the way people come to your establishment. It's just kind of like, I think for this to fly for Turkey Leg Hut, they would have to shut down and do a complete remodel. Because I think people are responding like, we don't believe you. You need more people. My nigga, it's more people who just want to come and had a Turkey Leg Hut experience and not do all of that than it is people who are like, gotta get ready, babe. We're going to the Turkey Leg Hut tonight. Like, that's just not the crowd that you get. So you got to dance with who you came with. You know what I'm saying? People got you in there to keep closing down.
If I'm being in line for an hour or two, why not show up as comfortable as possible?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I think that's
that part too. And it's not bothering you. I think is the biggest point that people are saying in here. Kevin said, are they trying to take out temptation of the ones who can't control themselves? I guess so. It's like survival of the ones who got the best will or the biggest desire to pull their pants up, if you will, from their perspective. These rules are popping shots specifically at black alt goth skater type clothing styles, which is, also very true.
Because even the baggy clothes, it's like, so when you say baggy clothes, who gets to determine what's baggy and what's not baggy? And it's just like, it's like so in one instance you say not too revealing, not too tight, this, that, and the other, and then you also outlaw baggy clothes. It's like, what? Come on now.
Let's see. Let me see. The Theory Beauty says, yeah, we know head wear things is directly going to impact black people because of do-rags and bonnets. My body ain't bothering nobody though. Christopher says, being from a luxury retail background, a dress code should reflect the environment that you want to be able to create and manage. By the way, and Louis Vuitton, where I worked, had no dress code, right? So you essentially say a whole lot for yourself about how you shape your environment. The thing about that is you can't be retroactive about that, right? I think that's the biggest issue is you can't start down one path and then be like, think you want to go another direction. Maybe you should open up a new establishment called the Turkey Leg Hoot with like an accent over the U or something like that, and then people will come there in their couture outfit and their button downs and things like that, and you'll have the experience that you want to offer folk. Point being, your product and service should set the expectations of your clientele. You don't need to force a dress code. You just need to kind of change other elements of your establishment, and things will adjust themselves accordingly, which goes back to maybe opening up a second location. Either way it goes. We about to slide into a different conversation, but I did want to highlight or at least start to get our minds thinking about what we should respond to or how we should respond as soon as we hear dress code, because in a lot of ways we know that that's a dog whistle for niggas get on up out of here. And it's unfortunate that sometimes it comes from our own people, but story's still developing. We'll see how they fare out in the end.
How they fare out in the end, man.
Yeah.
So, hey, next we're about to get into the culture chop. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've heard about the news about old Bill Cosby getting out of jail on early release. He did 2 years and some change for man. Was it sexual?
You only did for 2 years?
2 years, almost 3 years. It was almost 3 years. It was almost 3 years, and his minimum that she was supposed to be serving was 3 to 10 years. You feel me? For y'all that don't know, Bill Cosby was convicted for was it sexual misconduct?
I believe.
It was I think it was sexual. Yeah, I think it was sexual misconduct regarding a deposition where he made a deal with the judge that said that if he cooperated with the deposition in the civil case, that he would not have any criminal charges brought against him. And my understanding, there was another judge, you feel me, that didn't give no cares about that and still charged him with the criminal, the criminal charges of the implications that, came out in deposition. Now, due to technicalities, you feel me, Bill Cosby was released because he did make a deal with a judge saying that he would not be charged criminally, and now he's out of jail. The first story, you feel me, that you have kind of the backdrop, a little bit of it anyway. The first question, though, is how do we feel about people celebrating Bill Cosby release as a victory for the Black community? I'm gonna repeat that question. How do we feel about people celebrating the release of Bill Cosby as a victory for the Black community? How y'all feel about that?
Two things. Two ways that I feel. The first one I feel is disappointed, is embarrassed, right? And here's why I feel embarrassed. I know there is a huge component of Blackness and of our being and of our essence, and even just kind of human nature to be like, I don't care what they think about us. I don't care whatever. And to an extent, I don't. Like materially, I don't give a shit, right? But at the same time, the whole I'm rooting for everybody Black. I'm not. There are certain Black people I'm not rooting for. There are certain Black people I'm not aligned with. There are certain Black people who don't move how I move and never will, and I don't ever anticipate aligning myself with them. And so it is embarrassing. for people, because you can say it's a personal victory for yourself. You can say it's a victory in and of itself. You can say that justice prevailed or some, random arbitrary bullshit about the system that don't work right. But when you attach it onto all the things that Black people have already done or are already doing to do things like gain autonomy and respect, be understood as beings who have sexual tendencies and not over hypersexualized people who don't know how to control themselves, like you are feeding and falling right back into a fucking stereotype that I hate, that I loathe, particularly about Black men, right? Like we're talking about Black men and their inability to control their urges and their sexuality and to try to conquer and have conquest on. And there's a bunch of them. It's just, when I think about this whole, I cringe at what other people hear, because it is confirmation bias and it satisfies a lot of the bullshit that they already think. So I'm disgusted or embarrassed. The second feeling that I feel is disgust. And that's because, and I don't know, I didn't go through the work of like seeing if they were real or not, but I kept seeing like club flyers, like club promos where Bill Cosby released, we turning up at this place and that place. And it's just like, you just look like, how far gone are niggas? Like the gall, like what is in you? What is your heart made of? What is your mind made of to be like, oh, the nigga Bill is out? Yeah, not only could you couldn't just celebrate it to yourself. You couldn't just text a couple of your buddies. You had to go to an establishment and throw a party and be like, bro, that's violent as hell. And I just be wondering where people's heads is at when I see stuff like that. Now again, I couldn't falsify or verify, but I saw a bunch of different versions of in different cities across the United States. Come turn up, Bill is out, Bill free. Type shit, and it makes my stomach turn.
Man, I'm gonna start mine off with Picky Promise Life comment. Nowadays, I feel we lose so much as people that we grabbing for straws for victory. Like we don't get so much that we just grabbing for anything. And I think that when it comes to this Bill Cosby, I feel like there's a lot of exposing of rape culture to me that just show how it's cross-cultural. Black people, white people, Spanish people, Asian people, Native people is just kind of lost in the sauce of it. So I'm hearing people talk about the idea of like Judge Joe Brown, like these are bimbos, these are groupies, they set themselves up. We got to hold these women accountable too. And in my mind, it's like, so y'all saying that if I guess a regular woman off the streets goes and does drugs with a rich man, if the rich man wants to have sex and she don't want it, he can take it. So y'all saying that if a random woman go on the streets, go to a rich man house and she don't want to have sex, it's because she's there, she has to give it up. I think there's a lot of things that people, and remember, they saying.
Wasn't people on Cardi's head and on City Girl's head for saying that that's what they did? That's how they do. That's how it ain't tricking if you got it. If you agree to take a pill with me, if you down to it, if you consent with it. I don't know if y'all see that movie Hustlers. Right, this is kind of similar, and they went off the deep end with it a little bit and got out of control with it because they did start slipping people stuff. But a huge angle of them and their come up was drinking with folk who wanted to partying with niggas who wanted to show off the money, show that they had it, show that they was good like that, and then was able to, get a come up. So it's just like if women are you hail and praise a man who does it, but when women find a system and find a way where everybody's having a good time, you're having a good time, I have a good time, it's all benefits. Then it's a problem, right? But it's real. It's not surprising. It's more than anything sad.
Ooh, and too, hey, y'all be on the lookout tomorrow. I just put two and two together. Judge Joe Brown tomorrow. I'm on your ass, man. Remember all that shit you was talking about with Cardi B and how she was drugging. Remember, you got on Kwame Brown's show and said it with your whole chest. She was talking about drugging her tricks and doing this and doing that, and now you defending Bill Cosby the trick.
Come on.
So you cool when tricks is doing what they want to do and taking advantage of whoever they tricking with, but you don't like when the person they tricking with is doing. I got you, Judge Joe Brown. You see how easy that was, and this is the reason too why this Bill Cosby stuff again is exposing rape culture
all the time, like clockwork. And I mean, it really every time. I'm so grateful. I feel like my Facebook timeline is definitely curated for people I actually know. I don't follow any strangers or like look for people's opinions who I don't know. So whenever we have elections, I'm really proud of this. Elections, social issues or social kind of conversations that happen like this where you need to see how people are coming at stuff. I never have any friends that are like on the wrong side. I've never had to like unfriend people. Okay, so I've already done a good meticulous job at adding people to begin with. But that old Twitter timeline, boy. you would be like, where are these niggas so I can stay away from them? Because the amount of people, the amount of rejoicing, the amount of excitement, and I mean, I guess I get the idea of grasping for straws, trying to get a win anywhere you look for it. Christopher says, I understand on the surface why people are celebrating this as a win, considering the justice system, because otherwise defendants can get severely taken advantage of. But I'm just not willing to not do the critical thinking to go from point A to point B intellectually to be like, but this is that we do not need to. And Christopher gives us the butt. I spoke too soon. Just comment just came in, but this is a situation where Cosby admitted to the egregious crime he committed in the civil case, and now can't be criminally processed for the crimes he admitted to in a criminal court. And that is where I will always hate the slippery slopiness of. I'm always love it when it benefits a nigga that I'm on the side of. Right, I'm gonna always be a fan of the law but situations like this, it will just always outrage me that a system exists where you can admit to doing something like drugging 20 some odd women. Let's not forget about the cases that were thrown out because they timed out or aged out of the statutory system and were no longer able to be tried, or for the people who never came through and said nothing because it was Bill Cosby and they didn't want to go through the media charade and parade that happened around all those things. I will never honor a system.
Starsky and View said, four more women that didn't come forward.
Come on now. And I'm supposed to be excited about a system, that is designed to do that. Like, I can't even be excited when it works in the favor of people supposed to live off because it lets off dirty niggas like this. And hey, friend, what's up? My best friend in the building. Hey, girl. But yeah, it's not terrible.
And he go to two more things I add into this if I get to the next question. The first thing is in 2004, Bill Cosby had an infamous speech called the Pound Cake speech, where he talked about black people cannot blame what's holding us back on white racism. It's a personal and cultural issue. That's what he said. I find it funny now that niggas is now blaming his personal and black rich cultural decision on being able to take advantage of women on the white racism. I think that it's very to me it's very, you feel me, not only contradiction, you know what I'm saying, to me it's like a very, very, very what's what I'm looking for here, oxymoron, you know what I'm saying, oxymoron.
Yeah.
Didn't he say that niggas should be held accountable for their actions? And be held responsible and pull their pants up and stop blaming white folks? How are y'all now blaming the white people for his actions of drugging women? You feel me? And then the second thing is, to me, it just come down to this. We recognize that the system always has a way, or the system tends to have a way of creating injustices towards black people, specifically, you know what I'm saying, towards black men. I think we can acknowledge that, while at the same time acknowledging that this right here was not one of those times, even if you want to acknowledge the technicality. Because here's what I know about poor black people. If poor black people been in that same situation, this technicality or him having the funds to be able to get the lawyer is not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So you still have to have an intersectional lens to recognize that it's not just him being black that put him in this position. He made a lot of money for white people, and he's still his freedom. He has more value free to a lot of white folks than he does, you know what I'm saying, in jail. So you can't just make it where it's just a analysis where you only want to look at him as a black person. It's like, hey, it's a reason why he was able to get away for as long as he did.
I mean, and let's not forget about the fact that he's a man, right? We need to talk about this issue intersectionally. We are there touching on it in terms of the Cardi component or whatever, but there's a lot of, power that comes with being a powerful man. Now, was he about to buy NBC? No, that has been debunked. Did he send a huge donation to Howard? No, it was actually Spelman, and they returned that particular donation. And so a lot of people have, delegitimized a lot of the stuff that he does and who he is, but his presence is able to be resilient because he is a man. Like Jeremy said, at least Cardi, for example, was upfront about the stuff that she was doing and how she was kind of navigating the whole tricking situation. But Bill portrayed himself as an upstanding, good guy while chastising black people, which is why you're going to get all the smoke, and all the smoke you deserve, right? Christopher says a normal person would not have ever gotten that offer. Also, keep in mind the person who made him that deal is on Trump's legal team as well. So surprise, surprise, the people who are getting him off are a part of the same kind of legalistic network that likes to double cross, that gets over on people, that has hands in pockets, that have the ability and the access, the resources to navigate any sticky situation they get into. I know for a fact Bill Cosby went to jail and they sat in some private room, put their hand on that man's shoulder and said, "Don't worry about it, Bill. We'll get you out in between 18 and 26 months." You know what I'm saying? Some random shit like that. And was just like, whatever. It's not over. Just keep your head down, buddy. Don't worry about anything. We'll try to cause too many problems. Whatever. I know COVID hit. Don't worry, Bill. We're working as fast as we can. We already know our people are working over here. We haven't forgotten about this. And when the average nigga gets sentenced, we did everything that we could. We'll try a couple of pills. We'll try to do that and the other. But how many times on this very show have we talked about innocent people who are proven innocent and still subjected to stuff like the death penalty because it don't matter? The truth can be in your face. The facts can be in your face, and the law's still gonna do what it want to do. Right? How many times have we talked about people who no evidence, no witnesses recanted, things have completely changed, new evidences, and you still going?
Toya, I think
about to be subjected to the death penalty.
This is a perfect way, Toya. A perfect way to segue into this second question. You know what I'm saying? Toya, talking about the law doing what it does. In terms of this case, and the law doing what it does, what message do you think it sends out to survivors of sexual assault?
That even in the moment, the fleeting moment of peace, of closure, of justice, that you still can't loosen up and be comfortable, because there's always going to be an ability for some shit in a system that we exist in to be overturned or to be turned up. There also, and we're going to get to, the comments around this, but no matter how right you can be seen in a court of law and be proven in a court of law, the court of public opinion will always be something you have to live through twice. And so these women are now having to live through their trauma again because of this decision. It wasn't just Bill Clinton who, had a change in his life. He was in there and now his life changed. Now people who thought that they was able to sleep a little bit better, whose nightmares went away, who was finally able to live their truth, who came out of the shadows, are now sitting here looking like, for what? And I did that for what?
Oh yeah.
And I went through that for what?
Oh yeah, man. Like Hannah Chris said, victims of sexual assault would not come forward now. I think there's a reality that we have to come to grips with that says that when people come forth, especially depending on the stature of the person that, have they accusations against, or have they, grievances against who they coming at, it makes it hard for them to be believed and or to be supported because of issues like this, instances like this. So I imagine, you feel me, if I was a survivor of, sexual assault, that I would feel like, a slap in the face. I would feel like nobody really give a damn about me. I would feel like if I hadn't come forth, like this probably the good reason why I shouldn't come forth, because I don't want to have to relive that or have to have that scab peeled off. You know what I'm saying? And then I think that for the conversation about Black people celebrating the victory of Bill Cosby, to me, it's like, what message are you sending to Black women uniquely that survive sexual assault? Because in my mind, it's like there's a hierarchy of care, a hierarchy of value. You feel me? If Bill Cosby is able to get away, with violating white women, how does that make Black women feel protected? You feel me? In my mind, like they understand. I feel like in my mind, Black women, y'all understand, y'all, the world don't care about y'all as much as they care about white women. Mm-hmm. So the world was able to say Bill Cosby able to get away with it with white women. Imagine how Black women feel. You're a Black woman, so go on and tap in. Like what you know what I'm saying? Like, am I tripping on this line of thought?
No, and I think one of the most disheartening things about, if I can compound this conversation, what you're saying with the feedback from other Black women, it's just like, damn, not only does the world minimize our concerns and care about us the least, they're least concerned with avenging our issues or being our heroes or saving us from bad situations, but there are even Black women like me who still don't get it, who still can't wrap their mind around it. We're going to talk about one in particular here in a second, but I think that is the hard part, is to look at people who look like you and be like, damn, you still don't see my struggle? You don't get it? I knew they wasn't going to get it. I knew the law and the ability for them to avenge the bad thing. I knew that was always going to be up in the air. But I'm looking at my own people, and they have made me a laughing stock. They have memeified me. They have made jokes about it. You know what I'm saying? I listen to a lot of political analysis. Y'all know I love NPR. Y'all know I read like different and listen to different just now news. This people who talk about kind of communication media, just whatever. And I don't remember where I came across this, but they talked about how the Bill Cosby story and the jokes gripped our social news and kind of comedy filter for such a long time, right? It was almost like because you couldn't watch a comedy show and escape a Trump joke. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of similar to where you couldn't watch something or read something that was supposed to be for entertainment or comedic purposes and escape a Bill Cosby joke. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that shit becomes super violent to Black women who want to laugh and want to be entertained and want to watch something in peace too, and not be constantly reminded that, they say Bill, and here's the thing, Bill Cosby got a lot of money, and so that makes him harder to peg down and capture. But the more popular you are, the more popular you are, the bigger the target on your back should be. So when that mother finally get hit, you think all right, we finally moving somewhere. We got the big fish, and then no, it still gets to swim away. You know what I'm saying? Like that is traumatic. That messes people up for a long time, and particularly Black women who are constantly reminded that they are not valued, and rather devalued in the system. It's a painful reminder.
Yeah. And before we get into that question about that specific Black person, I feel like Vance, you feel me, for it's a specific, I feel like a great question. He said, I want to ask y'all a question based on what we understand of rape now. In regards of being under the influence, does hookup culture foster casual rape on the spectrum? I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes, even recognizing that there are consensual hookups, you know what I'm saying? And that a lot of times people consensually agree to it. I still recognize that consent is on a spectrum, that if I say, you know what I'm saying, yes at 12:01, at 12:02, I can say no. I recognize how, you feel me, being under the influence or having your judgment impaired, you know what I'm saying, how it literally fosters those murky, gray, ugly, violent areas and situations where we're able to necessitate gender violence or necessitate the sexual violence, period, regardless. I do recognize that. I think it's like 1 in 7 men also experience sexual violence as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like to just keeping that in mind.
And yeah, my answer is a quick yes as well. I think hookup culture, what Lee said is called affirmative consent. And what it means is that consent can be revoked at any time, but rather that it is also the responsibility of parties involved to make sure throughout steps that it's constantly being affirmed that things are okay. When you have hookup culture, you have this perception that we getting down. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going down. We're going all the way to the end. If it ain't really no stopping in the middle, that why are you even playing games? As a millennial, I got a couple of these little apps on my phone, and a lot of them is cut and dry. Is you with it or not? Why is you playing game? What's the conversation? And I'm just like, nigga, I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not here for that. But a lot of it is make it plain and say, okay, so get on around here. So when you have rape culture, something that's as quick as we liked each other, that must clearly mean we want to get down. I mean, when I see you, there's always really this mindset or this idea that it's highly likely or possible. Yeah, it creates a situation where if I decide somewhere in the middle that I don't want to do this no more, does that mean I was on some bullshit on Tinder or on some bullshit on Hinge or on some bullshit on Bumble or on some bullshit on whatever? And now I'm gonna be fake to this person because I knew what it was when I showed up, and I knew this was just a hookup shit. So now I can't say no and came back. Like that's a lot of pressure being injected into an interaction, and that creates the perfect storm, the perfect environment for somebody to be violated because of what is the norm of that culture, that hookup culture. You know what I'm saying? And let's not forget how, in order to get the nerve, the audacity, the backbone to do a lot of that shit in hookup culture, guess what people like to be? Altered. They like to be a little bit faded. So now you've opened up yourself even more to consume something you didn't plan on consuming, or to overconsume something you didn't necessarily thought you knew your limits on, or to try to overly impress somebody because you do want to seem like a fun person who's just down for whatever. And now you taking shots with this nigga and can't keep up, and now it's a bad situation for everybody involved. You know what I'm saying? That creates a very, very sticky situation for people.
And I just want to say this before Pickle Plug put in too. Before Pickle Plug say anything, I was going to say this very clear. Just because you meet up with someone and you're doing alcohol or you're doing drugs, it does not make it where we can ignore consent. Just because two parties get together and they agree to drink or they agree to get high or they agree to smoke, whatever they're doing, it does not mean that it's because we two agreed to get our judgment impaired. It does not mean that you have the green light to have sexual relations.
And by the way, just because we do that and we kiss, don't mean we gonna do that and I'm about to touch it, or you about to, or just because we do that, don't mean you finna stick it, or don't mean, and this because you do that, don't mean you finna do it how you want to do it, or do like affirmative consent means every step of the way, as things escalate, people are mutually concerned with the direction that things are going in. That ensures that you're able to say or able to be like, yeah, I did, but I wanted to stop there, and that person kept going. That's where the violation happened. Yes, that's rape too. Just because y'all get something started, you be butt booty ass naked. If it's dead, it's dead.
Hey, and when people make that statement, and Candy in the was the if I can hit once, I can hit twice. No,
not at all.
It was a hot song. It was a hot song. You know what I'm saying? But listen, get your ass in trouble too. You feel me? It's because you got some once, don't mean you can get something twice.
Real cool for all my people who already established that men can be raped as well. But for all my people who don't recognize that things can happen to them, but they can be violated along the way. Make sure, I don't even remember what I was about to say. Hey, just make sure you stand on your toes. Don't let that get past you. And as much as things should be, common sense is not, right? So make sure you are okay and check marking everything.
So
and don't think it's corny. A lot of people think it's corny to have these conversations. I don't give a shit. Stop in the middle. Are you good with this? Is this cool? You good? We still on the same page?
Yeah.
Stop in the middle.
Yeah. So I think what's important to note that because we typically look at it from the perspective like when we like what people used to do in the past, and it's like this was acceptable when this is what Bill Cosby and them did type shit. What people is forgetting is it's not a question of limiting somebody else's actions. It's more so empowering another group of people who always got the short end of that stick. You know what I mean? Like, because for guys, that question of coercion was like a part of the game. So like it sounds fucked up, but it's like we were taught a lot of rape culture. We was taught a lot of rapey shit. Like and like niggas, it's like niggas don't want to deal with that, but that's the reality, bro. Like that shit's suspect. When you think about that shit now, I mean, like if you put it in the context, and I know it shouldn't it doesn't have to always be about somebody you related to, but simply putting it in the context of if the way that you moved, if somebody was moving like that with your daughter, somebody that you cared about, because it's easy to be like, well, nah, we used to do the thing and used to, that's easy to, what I'm saying, to justify your thing. But then it's like, as a father, if niggas is moving like that with your daughter, is that appropriate? So it's not a question of, well, like it's like checking boys. It's more so letting other people know, like letting young girls know or letting people know in general. You don't have to do that. Like the peer pressure behind it, come on, like, nah, like that. You are well in your right to say no. You know what I'm saying? That's empowering for another group, because it's always framed behind, well, man, that's how we used to do it here, but it ain't about that. Like whether or not you recognize what consent is, the people who are in those situations should feel comfortable in knowing like this ain't it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I think that like if looking at it from more of that perspective, again, like y'all was talking about with the impact, the reverberation of seeing Bill Cosby get away with that, it depowers them people.
Definitely.
They no longer feel like, okay, like nah, niggas do still get away with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I will be, not only will I be ostracized, if I take it there, the person that did it, you know what I'm saying, will put me in that type of situation.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Definitely. And so it's like, when we talk about consent, it's not just a matter of like trying to teach this. That's half of it. Teaching consent to other people is half of it, but it's also knowing that, like, letting the vulnerable population know, like, nah, like you are in control of that situation. You know what I mean?
Yep. Also, be happy for the day we get to a place where people don't have to evaluate people's value based on family status. That could be your daughter, your sister, your mama. What if that was your cousin? What was whatever? They are to be respected. That would be really freaking Nice.
But look, the reason why I use that example though is because we got to be real. There's a block. Like when especially when men are talking about women, like it's everything outside of like that space. It's not in the same like. And again, this is not saying it's okay.
I'm so happy right now. I'm just, oh man, yeah, I have no idea.
Why you say that, Joey? Why are you happy, bro?
Because I got that feeling on one of the videos, man. Like, what? I got a whole bunch of points for Judge Joe Brown, man. This conversation, you know what I'm saying? This the random conversation out, man. Ask this question and give a little context, man. So, do you think that a person can say they care about survivors of sexual assault and celebrate the release of Bill Cosby? The reason why I'm at, do you think a person can say they care about survivors of sexual assault at the same time celebrating the release of Bill Cosby? The reason why I asked this question is because Felicia Rashad is saying that exactly. Felicia Rashad is the person that played Mrs. Huxtable on the Cosby Show. You feel me? And when Bill Cosby was released, she made a tweet and said that, you know, justice is being corrected. You know what I'm saying? This is she said something like, this is a bad characterization of justice and it's being corrected. And now she is also the dean of students, I think of arts, dean of I think humanities and arts or something like that, arts and sciences at Howard. And now she's, you know what I'm saying, got us up in some hot water. So I asked the question again. Can you be a person that say you care about survivors of sexual assault at the same time celebrating the release of Bill Cosby? And what do you think about Felicia Rashad?
No, she should be ashamed. I really feel like she should lose her job. And I think Howard is the only reason that she's recanted her statements up to this point. She put out there that, thank goodness, miscarriage of justice has been corrected, whatever the hell she posted. Then turned around 2 seconds later and was like, oh, but sexual assault, because they called her phone and was like, madam, sis, you're a dean. And so she can't get away.
She disabled her comments on that tweet too.
She had to. Because she knew that you were, and that's where I go back to Black women and how they are a part of this ensemble of voices that are celebrating this, and why that's so scary, because the aunties, the mamas, the grandmas is the ones who have kept this stuff alive for so long. We are really going to be the generation that starts to hopefully blast a lot of the bullshit in our communities open and help facilitate a lot of the healing that we need, because a lot of our favorite people are the ones facilitating it. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't America's dad, and now she's showing that she wasn't America's mom either, because that take was just ass. You know what I'm saying? And like, I don't know how because I think she's even released a third statement about her commitment to sexual assault victims, and maybe even spoken on her position as dean. But I just don't know how she's going to carry out her job and do anything outside of holding anybody accused of rape to the highest extent of that accusation because if she lets anybody get off with anything, it's going to go right back to this tweet she posted, where it's like, oh, well, of course you let this person off. Of course you're not taking my accusation serious. Of course your office made this decision. So you've messed up all of the authority and all of the credibility that you have in that position. And it's sad as hell to see, because I was one of many who was excited that Howard was being fortified with the best of the best as people, our young people go and continue their education on a post-secondary level. But I was disgusted.
Yeah. And for people that the uniqueness, you know what I'm saying, that's going over, if the uniqueness going over any of y'all heads, all universities, whether it's a HBCU, whether it's a D2, D3, D1, they are hotbeds for sexual assault. So the reason why people are up in arms about Felicia Rashad's comments is because she's supposed to be someone that people go to when they need refuge or need help or need, you know what I'm saying, any aid in terms of dealing with sexual assault. So now there's been kind of a break of trust. You feel me? In terms of people thinking that they can trust her and go to her and have her be a part of the entity that's supposed to help when they have to deal with sexual assault.
On an institutional level, it ain't just about you being a cool auntie that I can come to or can I trust you. Like, ma'am, you are responsible for thousands of people in the conversation. And the conversation, huh?
Saying Howard University is global.
Yeah.
Like people come from all over the world to go there.
Hundreds of thousands of people, right? And you have put folk in a situation. What you've done too is demonstrated that you have not evolved even your understanding about dealing with these issues in a way that is responsive to things right now. What do I mean by that? I mean, not only have you created distrust in terms of how you deal with women, but now even in terms of, you would probably scoff at the idea that a man can be sexually assaulted. You probably wouldn't be able to wrap your mind around same-sex sexual assault issues and how those things have played out. What about your transgender students? I would be skeptical about how you would attend to and do maintenance to those types of issues just because of how you treated this tweet. I would treat everything under suspicion, because the moral compass that you have is not one that we share in terms of making sure that the conclusions end up how they need to be. It's not a thing.
Yeah, man. So you want to bring in this Sha'Carri, or you want me to bring it in?
We can go ahead. We'll do it together, right? I'll talk about it a little bit and we'll fill some blanks. We'll go ahead in this chop.
In the culture chop, y'all make sure y'all stay tuned in with everything that's going on with the Bill Cosby public court. You feel me? Public court opinion. My words is getting
court of public opinion.
That's what you said.
But we take that and then we slide into, I think, what we call in the culture shock, the culture chop. But it was a culture shock, or a shock to the culture, because we literally had peaks and valleys, or experienced peaks and valleys over the last maybe week and a half in relationship to Sha'Carri Richardson. If you are familiar with all the buzz that's been around the Olympics, we've been talking about all these amazing young Black people, young Black women in particular, taking the games in Tokyo by storm. Simone Biles is always on her business. Then we had Sha'Carri qualifying. We had some swimmers. We had some other track stars. We had some track and field, some folks doing some shot put stuff. And I don't have all their names organized, but Black women just been setting the games ablaze. No pun intended. Setting the games ablaze is what got us into this conversation about Sha'Carri. I like how I did that little pun. Sha'Carri, who was heralded as the fastest woman in the United States, ready to take out or compete with to become the fastest woman in the world, was recently disqualified from I think she can still run in the 400, but the big race that was all about her, she got disqualified from almost a week after, maybe a whole week after she qualified, because it was determined that she was found to have marijuana in her system. Now, after being addressed with this news and information, she took responsibility for it. She took accountability for it and explained her actions by letting the Olympic Committee know, or I think the Team USA Committee know, or understand that she only did that because she lost her biological mother very, very recently and consumed the marijuana in Oregon, which is one of the many states in the United States that has marijuana legalized. So dealing with a trauma, understanding what's at stake, understand what's to be gained or lost, but not being able to overcome that pain, not being able to overcome the sorrow, not being able to process that and win and thrive and be the hero of the United States and she got banned. And so that's kind of the scoop on how things have developed up to this point. Lee, anything that I'm forgetting or any holes you want to fill in?
No.
Okay. So we, I guess, outside of just breaking down and talking about what happened, because I know y'all's timelines look just like mine, and that was we even had some posts on the Chop Up Show page showing her some love and support. But it can never be just we support you one side. It always got to be some outliers, some other perspectives that are driving and moving this conversation. And so a lot of people said that Sha'Carri, while we feel sorry for her, rules are rules. Gotta follow the rules. If you don't follow the rules, you know what it is. So try again in the next 4 years. And other people said, that is ridiculous. That how could you possibly look at that? So I guess, Lee, my question for you and for the comments is, what side are you on? Are you on the side of gotta follow the rules, gotta charge it to the game? Or are you on the side of thinking that the Olympics took this too serious, that they went too far, that this wasn't necessary, and that this punishment was a little bit too heavy-handed for the situation? Lee, what you think?
I think that initially I feel like I've been kind of going around with it. Right now, how I feel is that the Olympics are some bullshit. You feel me? Initially, I was under the American centric idea, like, damn, y'all come at this Black woman like this. But now how I see it, how I saw it, is like, hey, the rules are the rules. But I recognize in terms of when you have an institution that's pushing standards, precedents are important. And when I read about the shorty that tested positive for steroids and she blamed it on chicken,
a burrito, no, a pork burrito
that she ate. She still was able to, you know what I'm saying, do it. And it's like, hey, now the steroids but actually enhance your athletic abilities. Weed don't enhance your athletic abilities, and y'all about that as an excuse. So you know what I'm saying? She got to have a better team to make it where she eat better burritos and shit. Like this is how I seen that. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, rules are rules. I get standards are standards, but their standards always have to be pushed and standards always have to be made. I think it was up until like 1904 or the early 1900s until women was even able to compete. You know what I'm saying, at the Olympics, and they weren't able to compete even in, I think, track and field events. They only compete in certain events. So I think that standards and rules have to change to make up for to be able to sit with the times. And I think globally, globally the criminalization of weed is situated in terms of people of color being criminalized. We see right now.
Factual. We got some folks in the comments who have, you know, kind of spoken weight. I haven't heard this because I thought she was able to run it for 100. Christopher says Sha'Carri is completely out of the Olympics now. So you got some more context for that?
Yeah, please do.
Please provide Jay said, no, that was for the old story. Jeremy said the girl just lost her mother. Give her a break. She can't be the only one out there blazing up. And that's, you know, I think a lot of what people have said. I think who was it? Mellow Ball said, if it ain't crack, let that girl run track. Which is, I mean, the sentiment that a lot of people feel, and I agree with. And a lot of people have pointed out that, for example, the Olympics is supposed to be trying to include skateboarding. But how the hell are you going to include skateboarding without including marijuana? That is a staple and a cornerstone of that particular activity. So either you want a very shitty Olympics, or you have to plan on maybe modifying or changing your rules. It's not to say that, of course, you need to smoke the weed in order to ride a skateboard, but rather that is an intrinsic part of that particular culture. So what are you saying about the celebration of internationals and global international, same thing, sports, if you are forcing cornerstone pieces of that culture to kind of be separated or divorced, right? That's something that we have to think about. Joyce Smith said rules are rules, right? So there are people out there who are just like, it's written on the wall, it's written very clearly, you got to be able to rock with that. Christopher agrees and said it's the rules. I'm under the same exact circumstances for a life-changing experience or opportunity. I recently broke said rule. If I miss my opportunity, I just got to eat that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is.
That's like a big deal. It's Nike standing behind her. That's definitely big. It's definitely big.
Let me see. The rule is there to make sure drug enhancement isn't happening. Weed doesn't enhance at all, so the reasoning is irrelevant. And I guess that's what it is. It's right. It's like you can pick a piece and focus on it. So like rules are rules, but let's look at the rule that you're trying to apply and why it exists and why it's not existed or being practiced.
Performance enhancing marijuana.
That's bad for your lungs. It's bad for your processing. It's bad for your general responsiveness and response time. So none of those things make you a better or more effective or proficient runner. Ethereal Beauty says, by the way, Stacey Houlihan was actually using enhancement drugs and got the punishment reversed because of protest. So that's interesting. Who is Stacey Houlihan? Is that the
I don't know who that is, but going back to that conversation about precedents, we see there's very arbitrary way in how they're able to enforce, you feel me, these standards and enforce these rules. In some instances and circumstances, they let the rule go by and they, you know what I'm saying, they protest or due to a burrito, you're able to get by.
Yeah.
You know?
Let me see. The rule is ridiculous and it's dumb. And I wish Sha'Carri was in the Olympics, even though she smoked weed. But this is a very simple rule to follow. Things should change. Even Kenna Chris said, I don't think she was singled out. Rules need to be changed. It's illegal in 18 states. But this whole idea that the rules should be changed and that it's legal in 18 states brings us to a conversation, you know, me and Lee and the plug were having before we started. And it is that there is a level of American exceptionalism that comes with a lot
American
of American centric. Yeah, to change these laws, because y'all got to remember, and these are tweets that I saw, you know, in a couple different conversations, is that we are very privileged. A lot of the shit that we are up in arms about, that we're protesting about, that we are concerned about internationally, is just not even on their radar. They are hundreds of years away from resolving using weed or caring about, you know, Black Lives Matter protests or social justice issues. They are trying not to stop a daily warfare. You know what I'm saying? Or something like that, or famines or other environmental issues that are ravishing their entire population. So they're like, we don't care, right? Like on the level of this particular country, and its rules and protocols and sanctioning what they're going to do and how they levy the punishments and the suggestions of the international committees. That's up to them. But one thing a lot of people forget about is that the United States is special in the sense that we deal with all these progressive issues that other countries just don't care about creating a wiggle room for you about.
Or to pick on Cannon Chris a little bit, when you point out that 18 states have legal marijuana, the Olympics is an international governing entity. The international governing entity of the Olympic Council Committee don't give a damn about the 18 states in America. So it's just like we have to ask ourselves the question: are we putting too much of an American perspective of how we should be seeing this? You know what I'm saying, Sha'Carri being barred from the Olympics? Because even I was thinking like, damn, in America you can invest millions of dollars in the stock market for weed. But you can't smoke it and represent American Olympics. And even though I'm still a little perplexed about that, I still recognize it like, hey, just because you can invest in weed in the stock market in America don't mean that in the international governing, you know what I'm saying, at the OCC, you feel me, believe you should be able to do it. So it's just like, I got to keep that in mind as well.
True. I mean, and it's mess all around, and we would like to kind of bring the rest of the world up to speed, but it ain't gonna happen. they don't give a shit. Therapy said, not to mention Dwayne Wade even called out some of the judges invested in using weed by still using it in the rules. It doesn't make sense, and that
was my point. You got that right there too, Toy.
New era came. It ain't we it's summer break. Okay, ain't no bedtimes. Ain't no such thing as bedtimes in the middle of the summer. We thriving out here, but we happy you pulled up into the room though. We definitely happy you up in this thing. Christopher says Sha'Carri. Why did Sha'Carri only get banned from her strongest event though? That bugged me. Why not just immediately drop her? That makes more sense versus limiting her success. And that did confuse me. Are you in or are you out? You can't do this race. You can't do that race. The suspension is upheld to the 27th. If you suspended, you suspended. I don't understand. I guess because it's when the races are. No.
What it was, they hit it with a 30-day ban. You're banned for 30 days. So it made it where if you were banned for 30 days, you would miss your individual 100 sprint, but you will be able to still run the relay.
So it's the timing. It's the timing of those things. We didn't bring them up by name, but we definitely did talk about the folks who Vance just threw in the comments. Caster,
Samina, Christine Boma, and Beatrice Masalingi,
who did nothing but exist by being Black and doing what they do best. And because whatever system that they used to quantify testosterone in the system said that they had too much, right, that they weren't able to, they're not able to participate and represent their country. So I mean, it's wild. We didn't talk about, and I don't know if those are any of the women who are dealing with the.
Those are all three of the women that's dealing with the in my
mind, hormone,
the
hormone issue. Then we got the swimming caps. Exactly. Ethereal Beauty just posted it, not to mention they're banning natural swimming caps, punishing mothers who need to breastfeed and not allowing them to bring their children to events. You can't wear nothing with Black Lives Matter on it. Let's not forget about that. It's just a whole lot of stuff compounding to really push and press out Black people, especially when we've led the way. Now, Christopher did point out that Nike stuck by Sha'Carri, which I will say was a very, very exciting thing to see and recognize. I'm checks over stripes all day long. And so it was beautiful to recognize that the company that continues to get my cash on a regular basis made the right decision and have continued to. They stood with Colin Kaepernick. They standing with her. I know it's a whole Megan Rapinoe, you know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of different athletes who have made both statements and done both things, and Nike has held them down. And so I appreciate that right there. Now, what we know, and we've been on for 112, so we finna go ahead and slide up out of this thing. But before we go, we got to talk about what is absolutely the elephant in the room with this conversation, right? We know we've learned a lot about Sha'Carri Richardson over these last couple of weeks, just because her story and her life has been on, broadcast.
Full display for the world.
Full display for everybody to kind of pick apart and understand more about. So we know she was raised by her grandmother. We know that they got a close relationship. She had a relationship with her mother, but when it's all said and done, her mother recently passed away. So a lot of the components of that relationship still a lot left to be desired. We know that, she is a person who is eccentric and who is about what she's about and loves what she loves. She loves her hair, her loud hair, her long nails, right? She no unapologetic Black woman, and she's also queer, right? She is in a relationship with a young lady, I believe. They love each other. They've been out about that and open about that on social media. But Lee, what in the world did we find out despite that fact?
We found out that she has some cryptic tweets that people are kind of up in arms about that are making a lot of controversy. One of the tweets said that if you agree with Lil Nas X, I think unfollow me, I believe. See what we got. If you a nigga and you wear pink, die in the pit because you gay as fuck. There was one tweet she said that in 2015, but you gotta keep in mind though, it's 2021 and she's like 23 right now. So 6 years ago, she was what, 15? 6 years ago, she would have been 16, 17.
Maybe so, but that top one is from 3 months ago. So
the top one though, 3 months ago. You support Lil Nas X, you can unfollow me.
Yeah. But we got the wear pink, die in the pit. Is that was only two?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, of course, whenever somebody gets big,
hold on. And then she got the one when she was defending Chris Brown. One girl said, "This is what Chris Brown did to Rihanna. Don't ever call it a mistake. Abusing women is not a fucking mistake. Women die, and Justin Bieber, who should inspire people, is out there saying that we have to reevaluate it because it's a mistake. Disgusting and stop justifying him." And then Sha'Carri said, "Oh my gosh, shut up. Women like you are annoying. None of us are perfect, and that was a mistake he made years ago, and was dubbed through the mud drugged through the mud for years. It's not right for anyone to put their hands on another person, but y'all don't say anything about that fact." So she, you know what I'm saying, she got some tweets, you feel me, about, protecting coming up for Chris Brown, you know what I'm saying, tweets about, you know what I'm saying, saying people, if you wear pink, die in a pit, and if you agree with Lil Nas X, disagree with me. I mean,
now, we always hate to go dig a little closer. Sometimes I hate when these people come up because it's like, I know they're gonna try to get your ass.
Hey, Christopher, right? Look, Christopher.
Never mind, suspend her ass. Right, and that's how people felt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like somebody else recently put us in this position where we was riding with them, and then they came out and had a whole bunch of homophobic stuff, and we had to be like, man, get your ass out of here. Somebody recently, I know Kwame Brown was saying a whole bunch of anti-black. This is more recent. Be Simone probably, but this was more recent. I feel like we was just talking about somebody, and it came to light. They were saying some homophobic stuff, but and like I said, Kwame Brown, we found out he was hella anti-black, hella conservative, whatever. So it's rough. Jeremy said, "Oh, she's one of those lesbians," and that's what I'm concerned about. Right? Jay is pointing out, and I want to set the record straight. Right? Apparently, she was saying that about the satanic tweet. I heard it was about the shoes. I heard her line with Lil Nas X was the blood in the fake Air Maxes or whatever. That was just not a thing. And so, and you probably said those lesbians. So, Jeremy, you might need to explain yourself. But I'm gonna leave that to the comments. What I will say is, TB said it best. I think our comments are coming from a place of self-hate and internalized homophobia, and that just be some stuff that people be having to work through. Like, I'm not giving her a pass. I'm not saying it's cool. I'm just saying this is a great example in real time of how you see people, no pun intended, working with their demons, working through what they fighting through, and trying to figure it out, because you are a walking, performative contradiction. And it's the weirdest thing to see. But like we pointed out, some of those tweets is when she's 15, 16. Everybody, I won't say everybody has changed positions, but I've caught a lot of people in some gray areas when it comes to Chris Brown and Rihanna. Some people have held strong and been very consistent about their perceptions. Some people have held strong and been consistent about it, but every now and again have broken out in song or dance when he's coming. So it's rough. Right? It's not rough because it's cut and dry. Domestic violence and abuse is wrong. Chris Brown was absolutely wrong. He should not be celebrated. Largely because of the things that he has done and has continued to do, not even then, but far past. I think he was just in the news a couple weeks ago and he pushed it under the rug, but that for fighting or hitting or pushing somebody very recently. However, and I from a very young age try to make it a habit to not tweet crazy stuff because I never wanted to hear about it again, but people grow and mature through their bullshit in very weird, very out loud, very public ways. And so I don't know. I would love, and this is what I wish, in regards to these tweets that we could talk to a Sha'Carri now. And I want to hear today's version of how she feels about these things. In a lot of ways, that Lil Nas tweet is from March 29th. It wasn't 2 years ago. She probably ain't
months ago, shit.
You know what I'm saying? But that is always the worst part of having people who you fall in love with in the news cycle or socially. You start to learn more about their story, start getting more connected to them. It's because it seems like it's always something that make you be like, I wish I would have never fixed my lips to say this and that. But I really hope that it's not that deep. Like Vance pointed out, yeah, I mean, she was 16 and probably didn't even know herself for the most part of this, or for most of this. And the rub with Lil Nas X is more of a Christianity faith issue, which is important to point out.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely. She from Dallas. She from South Dallas. She raised by her grandma. Yeah.
I mean, and I can debate with whoever. I also was not a fan of the shoe. I'm a fan
of the shoes, and I'm a nigga that's into dark weird shit. But I was like, yeah, the blood in the shoes. Now if you would have left them at just demonic, and you would have like, yeah, they black, this, that, and the other. But the blood in the shoes, like, yeah, man.
Let me see. Too much masculine identity, if that makes sense. It doesn't. If you want to elaborate a little bit, Jeremy.
Jeremy, please do.
So unpack that a little bit more. Daria B says she's allowed to grow, but her criticism of Lil Nas X bothers me because even if it's about religious views, it's about his gayness being demonized. I mean, it's difficult to kind of parse through. You don't want to separate kind of some of the issues and try to take something that's a really big deal and make it broken down so it's easier to swallow or chew on. When it's all said and done, those statements and those tweets were kind of, violent. They were exclusive and exclusionary and very dismissive of a person trying to justify and make space for their gayness and for it to be appreciated. So I can respect and understand all of that. But at the same time, people are through a process. They're going through a process. And when you are raised in probably somebody's Southern Baptist church, you're going to have to fight with yourself a little bit to make space for things like that. So love to Sha'Carri regardless. For right now, for me, still supporting her growth, supporting her connection with her humanness, right? Throughout all of this, even with these tweets, she's still human. You know what I mean? And so I'm willing to meet her there, at least for now, and recognize, kind of who she is and what she's doing and the greatness that can become of her. And I'm really hoping that she's not all the way kicked out of the Olympics, but even more that she gets a platform to now really get us to a place where we understand her, know who she is, and can become a fan, because I was ready to root. It's crazy. A lot of people pointed this out too. And I'll toss it back over to Lee. The Olympics was the one time, once every 4 years, where niggas feel the most American. It is probably the only time where you are kind of unapologetically red, white, and blue. And you don't even go that hard for it, but in your heart, it just makes you feel good when you see, your little flag, the one that you live up under, compared and contrasted with other nations. But now they're taking that away. Now it's about to be hard for niggas to even feel that once every 4 year little dose of patriotism, because this is about to be how it is with our natural hair, with things that are benign and do not hurt our ability to compete, and with like the BLM stuff, things that represent our causes and our issues. If y'all about to be like that, then it's about to be hard to support anything about the Olympics, and it's hard starting this year. So that's kind of my take. Lee.
Man, I'm about to say you didn't. Now I'm about to go into this little word. I want to make sure that I'm defining it right, man. And closing this conversation off, man. This little first chop up of the month of July. I'm gonna end with this little word I learned in debate called disidentification. And I think that when it comes to the Olympic times, that I agree with Toya that this is like the time probably where most of us is the most patriotic than we ever be during the Olympic times. I think that a lot of us really disidentify with the Olympics, you feel me? Because a lot of times it's like Sha'Carri from South Dallas, she's from Dallas. So when she putting it on, it's like, shit, I'm putting it on for Dallas. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to put Dallas on for the world. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's how most niggas see it. Disidentification is defined as simply the absence of identification, the absence of contraction, the absence of belief. If you believe that there is a part that is pushed away, then you're making it real. In my mind, disidentification just means that we can identify with parts of the Olympics while disidentifying with other parts. I mean, recognize being on a global stage, being able to put on for your hood, put on for your city, put on for your family, you know what I'm saying, on that world stage where it's very empowering, regardless of how you feel about America. You feel me? I'm from Bryan College Station, Texas. If they had a Olympics for debate, you bet your bottom dollar I'll be trying to compete in the debate shit, and I'm not patriotic as well. But goddamn it, I'll be putting on for Bryan College Station, Texas, and my family like a motherfucker for that. You know what I'm saying? So I recognize that. But just being able to throw that word in, she's putting on for she was putting on for LSU, but she's from Dallas though. She from Dallas. Like I'm from Texas. She from now. Maybe I might say it the wrong hood. You feel me? But she definitely from Dallas. You know what I'm saying? Definitely 1,000%. You know what I mean? I was just down there. You know what I mean? They just with shout out to everybody, LSU, Baton Rouge too. But just throwing a little word out there. You know, education is elevation. I believe it's always smooth and cool to be able to expand your vocabulary, be able to explain what you mean what you say, and shit like that. And I know being able to just incorporate different words to the lexicon. Goddamn, being able to, you know what I'm saying, show the feng shui on the rhetoric. Sometimes they go far away. So now I've tried to introduce you to a few words, you know what I'm saying, a little some disidentification. A lot of niggas disidentify with patriotism and the Olympics during the time of the Olympics.
Big facts. And Jeremy, definitely, just like a third beauty said, your breakdown of kind of what you were saying in terms of masculinity makes a whole lot of sense. That's why I love these comments. Y'all be keeping them live, keeping them vibrant. Y'all be talking to each other. Y'all be talking to us. Y'all are some of the best. I don't like calling y'all fans. I don't think that is kind of what we do here. We a nation. We a Chop Nation. I've always called it a group, a family, a conglomerate, if you will, of individuals who just hold each other down. Y'all share stuff. Y'all like stuff. Y'all been listening to Spotify, to Facebook, to YouTube, and to Apple Podcasts because I've been seeing the numbers. Keep doing that. Do me a favor and share something. Talk about it a little bit. Tell people to tune in. Tell people to come rock with us. Keep doing what y'all been doing because y'all are holding us down and we are continuing to try to move things in the right direction. Y'all know the was with us. We had to slide out because little baby Huey was needing a little bit more attention, but Plug has been in the background the whole time. He's been watching, he's been listening. He knows everything that's happening. So we're gonna make sure that we get some clips up for y'all. We're gonna make sure that we get these episodes up for y'all on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, so that y'all can see what's really good and make sure y'all stay connected with us. But you know, it's been another beautiful night here on the Chop Up. Lee, anything to say before we leave these people?
Hey man, just making sure y'all stay hydrated, you know what I mean? And you know, make sure you tell a friend to follow and subscribe to the Chop Up on all podcasting platforms. And make sure too, before you leave out here tonight, make sure you go subscribe to the Chop Up Show YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to the to the Conscious Lee YouTube yet, go on, do me a favor. Go do both of them at the same time.
Go do that. GeorgeLeeSpeaks.com. If y'all have any situations, anything, y'all know we're going back in person, diversity training. If you are the president of your Black Student Union, your associated student government, some student organization, whatever y'all got going on, this is the time to get them on the books now. Summertime when we can plan it and plot it and stuff like that. And he come with a package deal. If you want some toiletry and some political plug, we can all roll through. But it all starts at GeorgeLeeSpeaks.com. It all starts at GeorgeLeeSpeaks.com. So y'all go tap in. Y'all buy that Consciously merch. Shoot, and stay connected with us. We moving. We on the ball right now, and we don't want.
Hey, in Ethereal Beauty, we still. You know what I'm saying? Can I give you a deadline, Ethereal Beauty, on that Chop Up and Chill design that we gonna pay you for?
Yeah, goodness gracious.
Ethereal, can I give you a deadline that we're gonna pay you for? I promise we're gonna pay for your services and time. We just need that mug, man. We need that. We need that design.
But look, we gonna close out the show the way that we start the show. We out.
We lay out.
My guys, we really live. Lord forgive me, pay my tithes. Please don't have me reach inside. And that's in the console. Keep the semi when I ride. Lit off Henny when I drive. In the city.